Okay, welcome to the Get, Sign, and Succeed podcast. We're all the way up to episode number 11. My name is Bruce Badgley, and we have our regular panelists with us tonight. Andrew Cohen from Get Recruited Consulting, Mr. Craig Cox from One of One Life Skills. And I tell you what, guys, we have the topic I think that all these guys are looking for, and that is what do guys do, when they get an offer tonight? Craig, I tell you what, we've done 11 shows, or this is our 11th show. Everything that we've talked about in the previous 10 shows kind of leads us up to this. So now you've gone through everything here, and so now it's about time to get an offer. But one of the things that's key about getting an offer, Craig, is really the whole academics part of, being eligible for a coach to really enroll you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the first thing college coaches have to look at. They need to get your transcript and see if you're even going to be eligible, not just from an NCAA or NAIA standpoint, but are you going to be able to get into school there? So your GPA is a big part of that. Even with a 3.0 GPA, you're only able to get into about 50% of the country, 50% of the colleges in the country. So one thing that's going to help you get more offers is get your GPA up as high as you can get. The higher your GPA is, the more options you're going to have. So that's the first step I would say, Badgley, about academics. You got to get that GPA up as high as you can so you can have opportunities, more opportunities.
Yeah, and all of the other items that we've talked about through the first 10 shows have kind of built up to this, Andrew, but just reiterate a little bit about what these guys need to be doing with like film and social media.
Okay, so first of all, do we want to, it is a little bit different with a 2024 rather than a 2025. So a 24, so that's the rising senior class. This is prime time right now if you want to get a scholarship offer. The Division II schools that are giving scholarships, because their timetable is usually the majority of their offers are not till the season and even after the season. And they'd like to see the kids at camp. Typically, it's not their own camp. A lot of times it's other people's camps. If you want to go to FCS or higher, you typically need to be at their direct camp. Or if you're at another camp, the position coach of the position you're playing needs to attend. So your best way right now is obviously if you've had good junior film in combination with a great appearance at the camps. Now, competing at the camps, being a leader at the camps, testing great, either 40, agility, the jumping, all this stuff they're looking at. They want to see competitive kids. They want to see high character kids that are coachable and that listen. So your camp results, how you perform and how you carry yourself in combination with what you did on your junior film is going to be most important. From there, you definitely want to be on social media and making sure that you're posting good things, not just average things, but a great catch, showing a workout where you're really fast or agile, slam dunking a basketball, squatting with good technique or hand cleaning and a good amount of weight. But if you just show something where, hey, I'm 250 pounds and I just benched 225, honestly, that's not going to be impressive. So it has to be something impressive. And then when you do get your offers, if you want to get more, I do think it's going to be key that you're posting those offers, that you're sharing it with people. I don't know if it'll definitely get you another offer, but it'll definitely get you evaluated by a lot more people. And sometimes that's half the deal. It's just getting your film watched by the correct level of play. So I do believe it's a big deal that you're going to the right camps. Either if you do go to these camps that are only one college there, they better know who you are in advance, so you could be wasting a lot of time, money, and effort. I know I've said that before. If you go to a mega camp, that's great, but I would be careful with how many kids are there. No matter how many coaches are there, it just could be tough to be seen. And then from there, make sure you reach out to as many of those schools as possible. And that's what we try to do with our clients. We do with our clients is reaching out to the college coaches before they attend the camps. And that way they get legitimately evaluated. So sorry to get long-winded, but I think that was a lot to cover.
And the only thing that I can point to, and we started the show with this, I mean, all of these particular topics, I mean, these first 10 shows that we've had have led up to this particular point. I mean, we've talked about film, we've talked about camps, we've talked about academics, we've talked about social media, we've talked about everything related to getting to this point of getting the particular offer. And even last week, we talked with a coach and mentioned the fact that it's great on social media that you let everybody know your camp schedule. You see that out there all the time, but important that you let these coaches know that have you on their radar screen where you're going to be, because they may not, their position coach or your position coach may not be there from the college, but they've got another representative from the college at that camp that they will take a look at you and meet you and talk with you and everything else. So I think that that's, an important aspect of that too. So let's talk a little bit about the fact that, a college is showing interest, in a player. And, Craig, talk a little bit about, what's the delivery method that these players should be looking for, and how should the message be delivered to that particular player?
Most coaches nowadays, and Coach Coleman will correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Twitter is pretty much the main recruiting tool for a lot of coaches. I mean, because there's still some rules about when you can call, and some people still have plans where text messages call. So the easiest thing to do to protect coaches is just to DM them on Twitter. So that's the biggest thing. And as far as the players, just to add one word from everything Coach Cohen said: be proactive. Proactive. You got to be proactive in your recruiting process. You can't just sit back and just wait for it to happen. That's what he was talking about as far as reaching out to the coaches that you go into the camps, and the coaches who are going to be at the camps. Reach out to them. Let them know who you are. When you hear coaches coming in your area, because a lot of coaches post that stuff, make sure you reach out to them. Hit them up on Twitter and send them a direct message and let them know who you are, where you're at, so that they can pull your film. But you got to be proactive. And on my website there, oneofonelifeskills.com, at the top, you can find the video section. And that's where we have all of these podcasts that we've talked about, all of these things in a lot more detail, and had some special guests going into some really good detail on some of them, especially with social media and camps. So
and film too. And and the films and what the coaches are looking at for these films.
Absolutely.
Leads it all up to there. But talk about being proactive. Get one of you gentlemen involved. I mean, the easiest thing that these guys can get to be proactive is to give Coach Cohen a call there. You see his contact information, email address, Coach Cox, a one-on-one life skills. I'm more of from a business perspective, but to be proactive, these gentlemen, Coach Cohen and Coach Cox, are offering up their time to, help guys out. If you've got questions, they're going to be able to help you. And that's, the best thing there too. So, Andrew, talk a little bit about the fact of, okay, so a player and a family have got an offer, and now another school is expressing interest. So how do you, and in the case of, that one offer, it might be an offer that you've received from a school that you really like, but another school is now starting to come calling. So how do you juggle the aspect of, maybe 1, 2, or more schools that might be interested in you to come and play football?
I think that the majority of coaches aren't naive. So if you're looking at a school and they offer you, and you're a pretty good player, you're going to probably get some other offer as a college coach. Is I would be very upfront. If they looked at a school that was comparable, I'd say great, and I'd say, well, this is what makes our place unique and better. I wouldn't be negative about the school, but I would be more so positive about what we do that's advantageous. But I mean, if you're a college coach and you can't understand that the student athlete's going to have other options and look into other options, then I don't think you're being very realistic. So I think you're best off if you're honest. I think if you get to a point though and you have an offer, that's where you start the bar at. So meaning if you get offers after that at schools that you don't like as much as that initial one, then there's no reason to lead them on. You know what I mean? If they're not above that bar of that first school, they go below it. But you hope that you get multiple offers that are from schools that are all comparable and that you'd be excited about. And then, when you're talking to the coaches, you say, I'm very excited about your school, and it's going to come down to, I really want to visit, and I want to, this decision process is going to be made with either me and my parent, or me and Coach Cohen, or me and my coach, whoever your relationships are with. So hopefully that answers what you're asking.
Yeah,
Ed.
right. It sounds to me that just being honest, is just like you don't want to be in life, but just be upfront with these schools. And Craig, when a student athlete and a family, get offers from multiple schools, talk a little bit about obviously the academic evaluation and retention. What are some of the statistics that an athlete needs to dig deep in to do an evaluation of that school and what it has to offer him?
I mean, thank you. I love statistics. Obviously, you need to jump into and find out what the retention rates of the school. The retention rate tells a whole lot. That's how many freshmen that go to that school, true freshmen, come back for their sophomore year. And the national average retention rate is only 62%. So basically 4 out of every college freshmen do not return back to their original institution for their sophomore year. So retention rate is a big one, but not just the retention rate for the school. Ask the coach what the retention rate for their program is, or for athletics is, because honestly, I've seen both ends of it. I've seen where retention and graduation rates were higher in athletics and lower in the school because it's more structure. And I've seen it reverse. I've seen, because athletics might be trying to get in, the best athletes, not necessarily the best students. And so the graduation rate, retention rate might be lower for athletics than it is for the overall school. So definitely ask the coaches are supposed to know this information about their school. They should tell you what their retention and graduation rates are. So ask them what it is for their school and what it is for their program and athletic department. That's a big key. Because some of them are pretty, low in the low 20s. So you got to be aware of what you're getting yourself into. When you look at schools, don't just think, obviously the football part is a big part for student athletes, but also there's going to be life after football. So you got to really understand, what it is you're interested in as far as what majors you want to take. Does the school have the majors? I've seen so many students go to a school to play football, and the school didn't even have the major they were interested in. They end up transferring. So make sure you go to a school that's the right fit for you, academically, athletically, even from a financial standpoint. If you're having to pay some for college, make sure you're not going over your head, and make sure it's something that your family can afford.
Yeah,
So
all great advice, Andrew. Go ahead.
Let me chirp in. So I'm going to promote Get Recruited a little bit, but more importantly, it's going to talk about what needs to be done. So when we get hired by a family, the first thing we do is have an hour plus. I call it a consultation. In that consultation, we're getting to know each other better, obviously, but probably most importantly, though, is we are putting together an accurate game plan. And what Coach Cox just said, we want to find the right fit for your son. So that doesn't mean just who's the best football team, who's the highest rated academics. No, you want to go to a school academically that fits the majors that you're interested in. You want a big or a small campus or whatever you're looking for, city or country. But we're going to ask all those questions. And that way we could really cut down the list. Like if a kid says small school, then we're not looking at all these big schools. Or if you say city, then we're not looking at the school in the country. And then also between myself and the other guys on staff or Coach Cox, we know a lot of these college coaches, and we're able to tell you, hey, this staff is going to be really hard on you guys. They're going to be yellers, or they're going to put their arm around you. Just whatever their style is, you want to make sure that style matches up. And then we're going to also make sure that you understand the rules and the regulations. But how this pertains right now is make an accurate plan. It will take you a lot more money and wasted time and frustration if you're a Division III kid and you're spending time still waiting on that Division I and you're going to their camp. So that's why we give a film evaluation, and then we're also putting together the right schools. And I mean, I played Division III football. It was a great opportunity. That's the level I should have played then. And right now, I couldn't even play college football. You know, that's just the reality. I got recruited then. I was short and not fast, and that's a problem. But here nor there.
At least you're honest.
Well, I mean, I played and had a good experience, and I actually played. I had some of the best friends in the world. 2 weeks ago, I had a function in New York City with 30 of my teammates. I mean, it's awesome experience. Marist College, baby. But
yeah,
but I do think families need to, take it from an expert. I want to place my kids in the best schools possible, but I'm not going to BS them or anyone else and tell them they can play at a level they can. I think it's just going to really slow down the process and maybe cut down on your opportunities because you're going to let some pass because you think you're going Division I. So every kid I talk to tells me, pretty much every kid, I want to play D1. Well, that's great, but it's, what is it, Craig? Maybe Coach Cox, correct me if I'm wrong. It's, what is it, like 2% of kids play Division I and less than 5% play any college level of kids from high school.
I wanted to play in the NFL.
Is that right, Coach?
I still do. I mean,
Coach Cox, do you hear me?
You kind of froze for a second, but while you're sitting there with your smile, I'm gonna sell Coach Cohen a little bit with Get Recruited Consulting, because I coached college for over 20 years, and a lot of that time, I'd say 6 or 7 of those years, I was the recruiting coordinator at the schools I was at, and so I dealt a lot with recruiting services. And I can say this about Coach Cohen, and it's the reason why he's the only recruiting service that I recommend any of my clients or anybody that I know ask me about recruiting services, because he actually cares. It is just the same purpose that I have as far as helping students be successful, not just getting to college, but we want to see them matriculate. We want to see them graduate. We want to see them be successful in life. And Coach Cohen has that same passion. He's not just like the other recruiting services where he's just spitting out emails to coaches that are just going to be deleted. Look, I know we talked about this before, Badgley, but that's the first thing most college coaches do when they get in the office, is delete the 200 emails that a bunch of recruiting services blast them with, because they'll send you anybody and everybody, whether they're academically eligible for your school or not,
right?
Or whether they can play at your level or not. They just so they can tell the kid, hey, I sent it to all these coaches, but the coaches aren't looking at it. Every coach I talk to will tell you the same thing. They're deleting all those things. They kick them out, throw them to spam. I mean, but Coach Cohen, the difference with his program is he actually calls the coaches. He actually talks to the coaches. He has relationships with the coaches. And that's how we actually met originally when I was at Campbell University, which is a FCS program. We had talked a couple of times on the phone. Of course, I didn't know him as well back then as I did since I've been out and doing my program. But he's the only guy. I've been selling you the whole time you were out. I'm going to charge you for that one.
Well,
but
we couldn't
he's
see
the only
him,
recruiting services that I recommend.
We couldn't see him, so we had to talk about him. But, everything you just talked about there, Craig, I mean, the fact of, we had an episode on, recruiting services, personal versus the mass marketing and what have you. We've done everything on film. We've talked to college coaches, Division I coaches, Division II coaches, Division III coaches. Okay. This is all free information, posted up on, Coach Cox's website there, oneofonelifeskills.com. It's on our
Slash
YouTube
videos.
channel as well. This is all free stuff that really everybody should be taking advantage of. You can Google it out there, get signed and Succeed podcast. You're going to see that. And I'll tell you what, I love to get back in there and take a look at all of that stuff, because we hit on, everything kind of builds on itself. Okay. We always, like I said, we were touching on the fact, just like
Can
you
you guys
said
hear
about-
me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
can.
We've had a lot of storms here today. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Is it just me having the problem?
I
You
think so.
froze a second ago and then it cut out on you. But you sound good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm in the same spot I am pretty much every podcast in my backyard. So I don't know. But anyway, sorry.
That's all right. No, we've got you back, but we were just talking about the fact that we've got this great database of information that any student athlete can take a look at. We also have, obviously, the resource of both of you gentlemen willing to answer any and all questions regarding academics.
I'm going to put out a special order, Coach. Coach Badge, I'm going to put out a
Froze again? Oh, it must have been a good offer.
A really good offer.
Oh,
Hey,
my
listen,
goodness.
Listen, it sounds like poor Andrew there is running into some internet problems because of the storms. It was one of the things that you back.
So you guys
Andrew?
can't hear me?
Now we can.
We were anxious to hear about your great offer and it froze. I was about ready to sign up
ready?
myself.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
For $99, I'm just putting this together right now. I will get on a phone with a family for over an hour, and I will do our consultation. It's usually $400 to $500. Okay. But on that consultation, I will do a thorough film evaluation, level of play evaluation, put together a list of schools that I think are the right fit, go over all rules, all regulations, help you organize what is a good program, not just from the athletics and the academics, but also whether it's socially. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I'll go over everything to get you started. Okay, in the program with understanding what places you should be looking at. That is something offered, honestly, only for 24s, 25s, 26s, no younger than 2026. So we're really putting together a thorough plan. Okay. From there, I'll also talk about what needs to be done to give yourself the opportunity to play at the best schools possible. But I think that's a huge value for only $99. So, you all have my contact information. You can reach out to me and I'll give you that opportunity, and I'll spend as much time as you want. And I'll answer all of your personal questions as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And Craig, obviously, one life skills in teaching people how, you why don't you talk a little bit about one life skills and what you're all about too, Craig?
It's kind of funny. I was when Coach Cohn was talking earlier about creating this plan, this recruiting plan. I'm sitting here thinking and maybe it's why we connect so good and work together so well. I'm sitting there thinking that's exactly what I'm doing with their future, with their life. We get together and we create a plan for their life. Not just getting to college. We want to see you matriculate through, graduate college, and be successful at whatever it is in life you want to be successful at. That's what I'm passionate about doing, and that's what Coach Cohen is passionate about doing. We want to see you succeed, and the more you get to know us, the more genuine you'll realize how genuine we are when we say that. And
they just need to watch the 10 previous
passionate
episodes.
That's right.
I mean, they want to find out how genuine that we all are. Just watch the 10 previous episodes and how we interact amongst ourselves, how we talk about how much we care about these young athletes to make sure that they're on the straight and narrow, and listen to our conversations and the types of coaches that we're bringing on to provide insight on what these young men need to be doing if their goal is to play football at the next level. I think we've tried to collectively in this series give them every opportunity to succeed in every aspect of the college recruiting process. What do you think, Andrew?
You were breaking up. I couldn't hear all of it. I apologize. Paraphrase what you're asking me, please.
Well, just about what we've done through this series. We've really left no stone unturned on how these
Sorry.
guys can be successful at college recruiting.
So what are you? I'm sorry. So what are you asking?
Well, no, I mean, isn't that the case? I mean, that's really what
I
this series
definitely
is all
believe
about.
that's the case, but it tells you how this process is a little more complicated, I think, than most people understand. So I've partnered with Coach Cox because I believe the academic part is hugely important, whether it's to get into the best school possible, whether it's to get the most money possible. There's so many things that Coach Cox will help prepare your student athletes for. And then I think with what I do, there's so many different directions. Not everyone always appreciates that not only am I placing my clients into great colleges, but, regularly they're asking me questions that they don't know the answers to. And that's what I can really help with, whether it's rules and regulations, what camp should I go to or not? What questions should I ask or not ask? Should I post this? Should I not post that? There's just everyday questions. And that's what we're there to help with. And that's why it's really easy for us to say, all right, the next 5 shows are going to be about these 5 topics. And I feel like we're not even close yet to saying, well, we don't have any more topics. I think we could just keep going. There's so many different things that need to be discussed. So we decided on our show was to not, pull any punches, give the information away. None of us are big on, well, we don't want to tell them this trick or we don't want to do, we want to help people as much as they can. And then to be very honest with you, then people start to realize that, holy cow, there's a lot to this process. And I know with my own children, I'm willing to pay for things if I think it's going to give them the best opportunities.
And that's the reason why I got involved, because I wanted to learn about this process. I mean, in the same way, Craig, that, we all got together, by knowing Andrew. I mean, I just attended one of his camps and it was far and away the best camp that I had ever attended. And I've been doing this for 10 years. And so that's why, I reached out to Andrew to get to know him better. And, all we're trying to do is to provide good information for families as well as student athletes to make good decisions on their future. And it's with consultations, it's with websites, it's with videos, it's with interacting here with podcasts. And we had quite a few people hang with us here tonight, despite all of the storms and the internet problems, everything else. But I think it was a great show, guys. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Well, besides my ineptness here with my video problems, but yeah, good topic and everything.
You got to go back and listen to all the great things I said about you after your camera froze. Oh my goodness. Be proactive. To me, that's the biggest thing. I can say. We're giving you people to. We put up your phone numbers. We put up emails, messages. Let us know if you have questions. Don't just sit there and think, okay, maybe I'll do it next week. Be proactive. Jump on it. If you think about it, go ahead and do it. Because too many things get lost when we leave it up here in this brain of ours. If you want to ask Coach Cohen a question, give him a call, email him, message him on Twitter or Facebook. If you want to ask me a question, same thing. Or Coach or Badgley, same thing. Reach out to us. Don't be proactive in your recruiting process. Don't just sit back and wait for it to happen.
Yeah, if they want to know where they're, a particular show, we'll give them the link to the show.
I think along those lines, another nugget is when the student athletes go to these camps, I do think it's very important that they introduce themselves, shake the coach's hand, look him in the eye firmly and confidently. I think that goes a long way. They're going to remember the kids that introduced themselves, especially since most kids don't have the confidence to do that. So you'll be like, I know the coach will leave saying, that kid was pretty mature. I like that kid. That kid carried himself pretty well. That's the kind of kid I want to recruit. And then obviously those are great boxes to check, but you obviously also have to compete and do a good job at the camp as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'll tell you what, been a great topic. Craig, what's our topic next week?
Offers at high academic institutions. So
Okay.
kind of on the same path. I wrote it down this time. You caught me last week. I wasn't prepared. So you got me once. I got back on track.
I think that it's really important for everyone to understand, whether it's Ivy League, getting in those schools, what it takes, but also in general.
Wow, he froze up on us.
Right
Now,
there at the end. So
hopefully he'll come back, but I believe we're supposed
And I'll tell you, once you go over that 3-0 mark kind of schools, but what's that?
You froze up the whole time, but
that's all right. I'll tell you what. Listen,
we're gonna have the OC from Brown University next weekend. Is that correct, Coach Cohen?
That's what the plan is.
Okay.
Wow. See, another week and another college coach. That's what this show is all about. Listen to what the coaches have to say themselves. All right. I tell you what, guys, great show. Andrew, thanks as always. Craig, I tell you what, you guys are incredible. And, all of you athletes out there, take advantage of, getting a hold of these two gentlemen. It is worth the time investment to just pick up the phone and give both Cox and both Cohen a call there. And then obviously we talk about our database of shows, man, visit that. That is just a wealth of knowledge like you can't believe. So, but anyway. All right. Well, listen, until next week, thanks for joining us here on the Get, Sign, and Succeed podcast. And we will see you next Sunday night at 7:30 and then on demand anytime on YouTube or on oneofonelifeskills.com. So for Craig Cox and Andrew Cohen, my name